Hi everybody, this is SAAD. After a long day at school, a nearly 3-hour lecture, answering emails, do I sit back and relax? No. I sit down for maybe 4 of the most painful minutes of my life where I transcribe the recent speech, or at least the part of the speech that was released, uh, wherein the visionary, the luminary, Anne Hathaway was empowering us, was inspiring us to do more, to fight against the cancer of our society, white, cisgendered males. I'm going to read you her whole speech verbatim, which, as I said, I spent 4 minutes stopping the clip, typing it, stopping the clip, typing it. So you owe me. You head to my Patreon account and you do the right thing. But in any case, here we go. Start of the quote. With the exception of being a cisgender male, everything about how I was born has put me at the current center of a damaging and widely accepted myth. That myth is that gayness orbits straightness. I'm trying to mimic her just outlandishly inauthentic behavior. So gayness orbits straightness, transgender orbits cisgender, and that all races orbit whiteness. This myth is wrong, but this myth is too real for too many. It is ancient, so it is trusted. No, I don't trust religious narratives, and it's ancient. It is a habit, so it's assumed to be the way things are. It's inherited, so it's thought immutable. No, that's not true. That's a form of determinism, not in the free will sense, but the idea that something is inherited, that it becomes immutable. That's precisely what idiots who reject biological explanations of human behavior typically argue. We are an interaction of our genes and our environments. Even genes themselves are turned on or off because of environmental inputs. So the idea that it is inherited, therefore it is immutable, is exactly how a 12-year-old Oberlin girl would speak. All right, let's go on. Where are we? Right. Its consequences are dangerous because it prioritizes a certain type of love, a certain kind of body, a certain kind of skin color, and does not value in the same way anything it deems to be other to itself. That's some plomo there, postmodernism. It is a myth that is with us from birth, and it is a myth that keeps money and power in the hands of the few instead of being invested in the lives of the free. That sentence literally means nothing. And by the way, I hear that you've got quite a bit of money, Anne Hathaway, for a rather mediocre person, other than being able to pretend that you're somebody. You sure make a lot more money than I do. So I am one of the downtrodden, one of those, brown people who doesn't make nearly as much money as you do. Why don't you share some of your money with, the free? I appreciate this community so much because it's where I learned to reject this myth. Well, I don't need a community to know what is right or wrong. I know that I should treat people, if they're transgendered or brown or black or purple or gay or straight, I know that I should treat them with dignity and with kindness and with equality, simply because that's how my moral compass is. And so I am who I am because of me and not because of some community. All right, let's go on. Where is it? I appreciate this community because together we are not just going to question this myth, we are going to destroy it. Authentic equality, and then pause for effect. Authentic equality doesn't prioritize sexual orientation. It doesn't put any one gender or race at the center. It doesn't erase our identities either. What it does do is centralize love. By the way, none other than His Holiness Pope Francis recently said that you defeat evil with love. So clearly she must have been going to some of his sermons, although she left the Catholic Church. So, but they both certainly agree that the way forward in society is through love. All right. And when love is fully centralized, every door opens for everybody. Now, I know I'm speaking in abstractions. Please dumb it down for us simpletons, and I mean us morons who don't have your intellectual acuity. Don't speak in abstractions. Dumb it down for us, Annie. Can I call you Annie? And that there is privilege embedded in my ability to do so. I know that there are real obstacles that block the path to true equality, and I know that removing them is easier said than done, but I also know that myths are destroyed by the same thing that creates them: a community. A community that believes, a community that is conscious, as opposed to a community that's what, in a drunken stupor? A community that claps back and says, no more. A community backed by the HRC, Human Rights Campaign. Can you imagine what will happen as each person follows the lead of this community and rejects the myth of their own unworthiness? And more important, the myth that they need others to be worthless in order for them to be worth more? The walls built in fear will crumble. They will disintegrate. The old world will shatter, and the pieces that no longer serve will melt. A new world will emerge, forged from this community, from your seismic imperative message that love is love. This is all, I'm reading it verbatim. I'm going to put the link at the bottom of the description because I really want you to watch it to see how lacking in authenticity she is, how fake she sounds, how much of a virtue signal, how she just has a melange of nonsensical words that sound profound. But what I wanted to also do now is sort of offer you a possible psychological analysis as to why many of these idiots engage in this type of faux-profundity, where they are saving the world. Some of you may have seen or read an article that I had written a while ago about the grandiosity and narcissism of celebrities. And it was specifically in the context of how celebrities peddle all sorts of solutions in areas that they know nothing about. So Madonna will use Kabbalah juice to denuclearize some lake, and Gwyneth Paltrow will use some quackery to make you, reverse aging, and so on and so forth. So they're all physicians and psychologists and epidemiologists and oncologists and gerontologists and so on and so forth. But in reality, they typically didn't finish high school, and they pretend to be someone in front of the camera. But somehow this allows them to pontificate on things that typically require someone to study until they are 30 years old. And again, I'm not pulling rank here. I'm not saying that an actor cannot offer his or her opinion about geopolitics and that only if you have a PhD in geopolitics you're allowed to speak. But if you're going to offer us solutions that are typically rooted in an otherwise expert level understanding in physics or chemistry or biology or psychology, and you are someone who left school in grade 8, then maybe you need to have the epistemic humility to keep your mouth shut. When people ask me questions to which I don't have the answer, I usually say, that's a great question. I really don't know the answer to that. When I think I know the answer, then I will answer and respond accordingly. So one of the things that I was talking about in that article when I discussed the narcissism and grandiosity of celebrities is that I argued that they suffer from a form of existential guilt. So that in the same way that when a plane crashes, the survivors will often feel what's called survivor guilt. Well, why is it that the guy next to me died while I survived? Well, what's so special about me that I should survive? Well, celebrities, at the end of the day, if they are, somewhat honest and somewhat introspective, in the deep recesses of their minds, when they put their heads on their pillows to go to sleep, know that they are frauds. Frauds in what sense? That they are not worthy of the adulation that they receive, that people will wait 6 hours in line so that they could see their holiness, that they're not worthy $25 million because they play some idiotic part in a movie, that the rewards that are bestowed on them is not congruent with what they truly believe their sense of self is. But if they are the saviors of the human race, as Anne Hathaway is, if she can pontificate to us that love is love, and that's how we're going to conquer our problems, we're not going to have these orbits of cisgender male whiteness dominating, having a gravity of bigotry. Beautiful cosmological metaphors you're using there, Annie. You don't mind if I call you Annie, do you, Anne? So if she goes to the human rights campaign and she is an ambassador of goodwill and peace and tells us that we need to get out of our bigoted selves and, transcend our bigotry, transcend our skin, transcend our sexual orientation, and just live by the creed of love is love, she is a profound person then. She is worthy of the $25 million that she receives as remuneration because she is somebody who is truly profound and deep and who is redressing the trajectory of the human race. Without her, without what I just read you, could you imagine what kind of mess the world would be in tomorrow? If she didn't come here and use the celestial metaphors, if she didn't tell us that love is love, that she didn't tell us that the cisgendered folks have to stop creating the web of bigotry that they do, where would we be tomorrow? We'd be doomed. But Anne Hathaway has saved us. And this is why I will always turn to the good folks in Hollywood when I try to navigate through the complexities of the world. Have a good day, everybody.